From real estate to real life and everything in between. The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right. We have another show here for you. Thanks for joining us here, 7 p.m. every Thursday night. Oh, my gosh. This show is really exciting. You know, this is why I love doing this podcast, because this show is going to be really cool in that we're bringing a guy on here that is an entrepreneur. He is a TEDx speaker. He's doing something for people in need that I've never seen done before. And it just, when I got this, I saw it on Instagram or Facebook, one of those places. I was looking around for different guests, and this guy's name popped up, and he's doing some amazing things. I'm going to bring him on screen here. His name is Bob Dalton. He has a company called Sackcloth and Ashes.com. Bob, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Brad.
Absolutely. This is exciting. Yeah, I've been wanting to get this together for a while, and I know we only met probably 2-3 weeks ago, but I want to say thank you for coming on the show, because it means a lot to me, because I know you're very busy.
No, absolutely honored.
So yeah, let's start at the beginning here. So I'm going to read your bio just so people have an understanding of who you are, because it's the best way to do that at this point. So Bob is an entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and the founder of Sackcloth and Ashes, a company that donates a blanket to local homeless shelters for every blanket sold. He's recognized for inspiring local action and has been named a Forbes Changemaker and a CNN Champion of Change. As an advocate for localism, Bob aims to inspire people to get involved in their communities through his foundation, Love Your City. That's a lot, but tell me, what is it that you're doing? Tell the people what you're doing right now, and then we'll go back into why you're doing it.
Yeah, what I'm doing right now is Sackcloth and Ashes. My company is about to hit 10 years on June 1st.
Wow.
So been at it for a decade, running a product company. And my main focus right now is running Sackcloth and Ashes, which donates a blanket to a homeless shelter for each blanket purchased, and working on, I'm currently working on writing what I'm calling the Localism Manifesto, which is a piece of writing that my goal is to diagnose what localism is and how it's going to shape society in the future. And localism has just been a philosophy that I've adapted as something that I feel like is the most effective strategy to create change moving forward in our communities. And so I've been endorsing that, promoting it. And really anything that I work on or create or build comes back to figuring out how can we make a local impact in our communities. That's my main mission and my main message.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's like one step at a time. It's like anything today, where they say, they always say, even just like, I'm not going to bring up government, but local government. People seem to tend to look past that. But we have to be really concerned about our communities, our neighborhoods, because we can't change the community. You're in California, right? If I'm not mistaken. Is that where you are? Yeah. I have a hard time changing a community in your state, but localism, if you start working on your place where you live, it will grow. And then look at this now. You're in San Diego. Is it San Diego? Am I right about that?
Yeah.
You're in San Diego, and look how now you've affected somebody in Reading, Pennsylvania, directly all the way to the other side of the nation. That's incredible. And that started with localism.
Yeah, localism is really three main things. It's changing public perception and helping people become more educated on what's happening around them. Number two is participation. Everyone has a role. We all have some sort of role to play. And the third is proximity. It has to happen within proximity to us. Yeah. So if you can change public perception and help educate people on what's happening locally, you invite people to participate on a local level, and you do it within proximity, we're going to see real, legitimate, positive results in our communities. Whereas right now we've become too codependent on the government or large corporations or philanthropic ventures to solve our issues for us. And it's just not effective. We're investing billions of dollars into these societal issues, and they continue to get worse. So it offers up an opportunity for us to present a new solution. And I do believe that the most effective strategy for society is local.
Yeah, I agree with 100%. So let's go back into, where your passion came from for this. You didn't grow up going, wow, I can't wait to be in the blanket business or, in this kind of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
You probably, just like any other kid, were planning on doing either baseball or something. What kind of hat do you have on there?
New York Yankees.
Oh, my wife and you would get along very well. She's a Yankees fan. So how does that work in San Diego, though, with that hat?
I'm just bought into the brand of New York. New York's my favorite city.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. That's cool. So, yeah, so how did you get into this? I read a little bit about your mother, and she had gone through some rough times living on the streets. And this is where the whole idea of giving the blankets came from. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I was 23, 24 years old, and my mom went through a series of events where she found herself living on the streets, and it completely changed my paradigm of homelessness. I was already passionate about helping my community, and I did want to dedicate my life to impactful work. I had decided that pretty early on in my life, but homelessness was always at the bottom of the list of a cause that I actually cared about. And I was the guy that would be, trying to hit the green light so that I didn't have to face the reality of someone, coming up to my car window and asking for money. And when my mom ended up in that situation, it shifted my paradigm because she's the hardest working woman that I know. She raised my sister and I by herself. She has 2 college degrees. Not somebody that you would expect to end up in that situation. And so the fact that she did, and falling into some problems with addiction, it inspired me to do something. And so I started calling homeless shelters in my community to see what they needed. And they said blankets. And that's when I came up with the idea: for every blanket that we sell, we donate a blanket to your local homeless shelter. And I very, very early on, from day one, I wanted to integrate the local component to give anyone an opportunity to make a difference down the street from where they live.
That's cool. Yeah. So why blankets? That's the thing that you felt was the most important? I mean, is that something you got from somebody? They said, hey, we need blankets? Because it seems to be like a very obvious thing, right? That even where you live in a warm climate or a warm area, you still at nighttime need a blanket. If you're on the street, you need a blanket.
Yeah. Everybody wants a blanket. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I called a couple of homeless shelters and was just like, hey, what can I do? How can I help? And they were like, we need blankets.
Wow.
And then I talked to maybe like another 1 or 2 that said the same thing. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to start a blanket company. And I was familiar with the Tom's 1-for-1 model. And I was like, that'd be interesting. Start a blanket company. And for every blanket we sell, we donate one.
Amazing. It's awesome. And tell me about the name. Where did the name come from?
Yeah, I was what you call an aspiring entrepreneur, where I had like 100 different names in my phone of all the businesses I would start one day.
Right.
And Sackcloth and Ashes was one of the names that was in my phone, and it's ancient Jewish symbolism, which means mourning and repentance.
Oh, good.
And I thought that was the perfect name for it, just because it was.
Say it again. What that means? Explain that again. What does it mean?
Yeah, it's ancient Jewish symbolism, which means mourning and repentance. And so the concept of it was, every time somebody wraps himself in a blanket, it symbolizes mourning over the homeless population and repentance by contributing to a shelter in your area.
Wow, everything has meaning there. That's incredible. Yeah. I'm looking at this name. Is that on your website anywhere? Is that anywhere that I missed it? Because I was trying to figure that out, and I think that'd be something good to on there, right?
No, we had it on our website for years, and now it's not on there anymore. But it's actually, it might be under the FAQs, like why the name.
There you go,
or something like that. But yeah,
I didn't dig deep enough, huh?
Yeah, and I don't know. I kind of like the idea that it's this kind of mysterious name. It's historic. I mean, it came out of Jesus's mouth. Like it's in the Old Testament, it's in the New Testament, and it's deeply ingrained in the Jewish religion and philosophy.
Amazing. I love that. So, okay. So tell me, so how do you go from, okay, I'm going to give out blankets, or I'm going to get the blankets. Did you start first, like having people donate blankets to you and then you would drop them off at the shelter? I mean, cause there's a lot of places that do, hey, bring a blanket and we'll drop them off at the homeless shelters, or bring a blanket, or buy a blanket and whatever. So this is different. I mean, I looked at the video showing how you guys are manufacturing these blankets. I mean, they're made out of recycled materials. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you go from let's donate a blanket to you're a blanket company?
Yeah. No, I drove down to Joann's Fabric and bought a sewing machine and a roll of fabric.
Oh my gosh.
And tried to learn how to sew and realized I'm horrible at it. And so I hired a local seamstress in my community, and I started boxing up blankets and putting them in my trunk and starting to walk into shops and just be like, hey, you guys interested in buying blankets? And that was it. I mean, I started it as grassroots as you can get, going door to door, walking in, asking people if they want to buy blankets, and got into maybe 10 to 20 shops out of 200. Listed those shops on my website and launched a website through Shopify, and was off to the races.
Amazing. And now how many blankets are you making in a year, or how many have you given out?
Yeah, I think the last stat was last year we did around 80,000 units produced and shipped.
Wow.
And a total as a company for around 420,000.
Unbelievable. And each one you're giving. Now, how does that work when you say you're giving them back? How does that work then? So if I buy a blanket, in fact, I'm on your website now. I have my own account because there's actually a special place there for realtors, which is really cool. And realtors can give these out as client gifts and things like that. I already sent 2 out. I told you that before we went live. I sent 2 out to clients of mine, and I think it's a great idea. So tell me, how did it get to that? And also, also some of the other stuff I saw is when you open the box, there's things in there that tells you to like put supplies in there and give the box then to your homeless shelter.
Yeah. So the way that the actual give back works is we donate based off of your zip code. Okay. So if you buy a blanket and you live in Austin, Texas, we'll send a blanket to a shelter in Austin. If you live in Milwaukee, we'll send a blanket to a shelter in Milwaukee. Wow. And in everything that we wanted to do and create, when you're building something from the very ground up, you have the opportunity to look at everything and say, what can we do that's creative and innovative and makes an impact, Yeah. And one of the things that we looked at was our packaging. How are the blankets coming and what are they packaged in and all that? And I recently deemed it, I call it the think out of the box method. Which is like,
no pun intended, right?
No pun intended. Yeah. Think out of the box is like,
are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.
What can you do outside of having this be a vessel for messaging and delivery?
Yeah.
And so we looked at that and we were like, let's create an opportunity for people to fill the boxes up with needed items and donate to their local shelter. And so on the bottom of the inside of the box, it says, take it a step further, place the following items in this box and donate to your local shelter. And there's a list of socks, lip balm, snacks,
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's cool. We get a lot of photos and notes from people of them and their families filling the boxes up and taking them to their local shelters. And it's a really small opportunity for people to do something. And I think that the majority of people want to do something and they don't know where to start. And so as a company, we're looking for any creative and innovative way to help encourage people to get involved in their local communities.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I have a box here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show it or not, but I'm going to try to. I have a box here, and I just got this today, which is really, really good timing. I actually went home to pick it up, but on the front of the box, it says, make a local impact. And then inside, obviously, is the blanket, which you can see here. Really cool. I got the more like patriotic one, like red, white, and blue kind of looking thing. And then inside, there's cards, too. It kind of explains what the process is and where this came about. And then, like he said, on the bottom inside, it'll tell you what to pack in here should you want to, take something, all these items then to another shelter. I love this stuff here too. You can then scan this. They can scan this then, right? And order another blankets for somebody else or whatever. Right?
Yeah. We wanted that QR code on the box to take you to a landing page to give you an opportunity to make a difference in your community in a couple different ways. So,
yeah. The quality of the blanket's no joke. That was the biggest thing I was waiting for, Bob. I got to tell you, before I told our agents about it, before I really started getting out there and pushing these things, it's like anything online. I mean, I trust you, but what's trust but verify, right? So I was waiting to get the blanket because at the end of the day, if the blanket quality was not that great, it would change everything. It'd be like, oh, okay, now I get it. The blanket's not that great. This blanket is serious.
Yeah,
like it's a nice blanket.
Yeah, no, it's always funny when people come up to me and they're like, wow, your blankets are actually really good quality. I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell, man? Of course.
Yeah, I was expecting like one of the lady that I was talking to, she's like, well, at least there's not like a bottle cap stuck to it or something like that
Yeah,
for being recycled.
exactly.
So tell me how the recycling things, you're actually using some recycled products in there too, right?
Yeah, it was just another opportunity for us to look at like how can we go about this in the most effective way and also just the most sustainable way. And we found an amazing manufacturer out in Italy where they've been making fabric for over 100 years, and they make all of their fabric out of recycled materials. So the blankets start as t-shirts and sweatshirts, like scraps of
Unbelievable.
fabric, and they get put into a carding process and grinded up, turned into yarn, and then the yarn to the jacquard loom to washing the fabric and putting the tassels on. So it actually goes through about 7 to 8 steps before it actually gets turned into fabric.
Yeah.
And then the fabric gets shipped to our production hub in Oregon, and that's where we cut, sew, label, polybag, and do all of our own fulfillment. So it's a really the journey of one blanket is pretty significant, and I do
It
have the
is.
dream of documenting that journey at some point.
It's really cool, but there is a cool part on there. If you go to his YouTube page, I don't know if it was under Bob Dalton or if it was under the sackcloth and ashes.com, but there's a YouTube video there. It kind of gives you a short synopsis of showing you guys making the material, making the blankets, which I thought was kind of cool. So check that out too. If we want to order one, is that the best thing to do, right? Go to sackcloth and ashes and .com and you can order blankets there.
Yeah.
There's also a book too. Oh, by the way, I ordered the book. It's coming. It should be here this week or
Oh,
later this
nice.
week. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I saw the book and I was like, I got to buy this book. I have kids that are 9 and 12,
Yeah.
and I thought it'd be kind of cool to show them that book.
Yeah.
But yeah, you wrote the book, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was always on my bucket list to write a kid's book, and we ended up self-publishing the book and selling it through Sackcloth's website. But it's called Everyone is Someone, and it's just a simple poem that I wrote, and then the creator or the illustrator or artist who did all of the design for the book, he hand painted every page on canvas,
Oh
and
wow.
it took him like 8 months.
Oh
And
my
he's a
gosh.
amazing artist named Richie Collins out in Scotland, and
Wow.
he made the book, and it came together, and honestly like, and I'm not saying that I like played my small part in writing the poem of it, but
Right.
it's a masterpiece, bro. Like it's
Awesome.
like
Well, I'm excited to get it.
yeah, I really want to publish it through a legitimate publisher and take it global, because it's it deserves to be out there. I have so many families and kids that have sent me videos of them reading the book, and so many parents are like, my kid doesn't even read, and the kid knows
And he
every
liked it.
word. And so
That'll make you feel better than even anything, right? And when you
I
know
know,
a
man.
kid was
No, it's
affected.
cool, and
Yeah.
I haven't tried promoting the book or getting it out there in any creative marketing ways, and it ended up getting picked up by an educational school system in Italy
Good.
that is using the book to teach kids English.
There you go. You should have put some meatballs or something. Is there any kind of meatballs or spaghetti in the book? No.
No, no, just good art and messaging.
That's great. Well, I'm excited to get that too. I have to let you know when I get that. So you have the other thing called Love Your City. It's it's a podcast that you're doing. I listened to some of the stories, are pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Explain a little bit about what Love Your City is and what you're doing with that.
Yeah, my journey of donating blankets to shelters turned into me being able to travel around the U.S. and getting to meet with these grassroots leaders and do what's called like a blanket drop, where we donate blankets in person and get to learn firsthand what they're doing, and get to invite executives from companies that we're partnered with into these blanket drops, and get a tour of the shelter and pass out blankets and all that. And as I started doing it more and more, I was like, man, how are people like, how do we not have a mic in front of these people? These people are
Yeah.
true community heroes, and they have so much incredible things to say. And so I started in 2022. I traveled every week to a different nonprofit organization and interviewed some of the best grassroots leaders in the United States. And you can view all the interviews on loveyourcity.org/podcast. And it was it was a life-changing journey.
Yeah.
And then during COVID, when everything shut down, there was a lot of people I was connected to that wanted to make an impact, but they didn't know where to start. And then you have all these nonprofit and organizations that needed support and help.
Yeah.
And so you had this like gap of people that want to do something and organizations that need something to be done. And so there wasn't really any websites. And I did a lot of research of there wasn't anything out there that existed that I felt like was designed well for people to get connected to what's happening in their communities. And so my team built it from the ground up. Loveyourcity.org. You can search your city, and we show you all of the amazing grassroots work that's happening in your city and how you can get involved. And
I saw that.
It's a great resource for people that are just want to know, hey, what's happening right down the road for me that I can get plugged into.
You know, I wanted to ask you about that. I saw that, and the closest city for us was Philadelphia. Is there a way that we could add Reading, Pennsylvania in there, get them on there as a separate thing? Because we have a lot of good stuff going on, and we're about an hour and 20 minutes away from Philly. So sometimes it's not really local, but I'm just curious if that was something we could do. Could we add a city like that on there?
Yeah, I'm in the process of developing an app.
Oh, cool. Even
And
better.
and that will get it pretty. That will offer it to more cities. And
Well, they could geolocate you too. It could find out where you are and say, because we have like the Hope Rescue Mission here. We have Salvation Army. We have, all the different ones. We have Opportunity House. We have Habitat for Humanity, but they're all local chapters. And it'd be good to have that access to them. Because a lot of times you're right. A lot of businesses, a lot of people that are out there, entrepreneurs and people that have money to give, they're looking for these avenues. And it's not always the easiest to find.
Yeah, they're just really spread out. It's like you can find them, but it takes work and research and all that. And what we need more platforms that are helping you identify and find everything that's going on around you a lot easier. And, you have just like, you got Yelp, which is, horribly designed. It's a necessary evil. And you got Facebook groups and you got Nextdoor, and all of these are platforms that we kind of jimmy rigged to kind of like make it work, but we need one hub that's helping us identify what is going on around us and how can I get plugged in immediately.
I agree with you 100% on that. I 100% agree with you. I love what you're doing. I really think it's amazing. How is your mom still around? How is she doing?
Yes. Yeah. She, in 2018, I was doing a blanket drop in Portland, Oregon at a women's program, and they said, "Hey, where's your mom now?" And I said, "She's still struggling." And so they said, "Hey, we got 38 out of 40 slots here at the program. Are you interested in trying to get her here for an interview?"
Oh, cool.
And so we ended up getting her in the program. She got sober, and now she's been sober for 5 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or 6 years now. And 5 years. It will be 6 years on November 1st.
Wow.
And she's thriving. Like, CNN just did a segment on Sackcloth where they highlighted me as one of their champions for change. And my mom was in the segment, like did a full interview.
Wow. That's awesome. I got to watch that.
And she's, she's sober. She's working at a detox facility, helping people transition out of addiction.
Amazing.
She's killing it. She's healthier than I am.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Great story. And you know what? Everything you're doing is just phenomenal. And I want to make sure we stay in touch. I want to keep checking in on what's going on. Please stay in touch with us and give us updates. We can share it on our socials. But this is just amazing. It's probably one of the most awesome podcasts that I've done as far as people making change. And we're going to be pushing these blankets out through our real estate agents here. And I'm going to be promoting it wherever I can because it's such a great cause, and I think it's awesome. So, congrats to you, everything you're doing, and thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome, thanks so much. All right, that was amazing. You definitely need to check this out. Bob Dalton. It's sackclothandashes.com. You can go there. You can also check him out on Love Your City, LYC podcast. He's got all kinds of great stuff going on there. Yeah, so just look him up everywhere. Order some blankets, get those boxes, fill them up with other supplies, and take them to wherever you can to help other people. This is just a wonderful thing. All right, there you go. It can be found on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube every Thursday night at 7 p.m. All right, thank you.